Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the Real Senior Stoner back at you for your dab of the day, your Rio dab of the day. Today is Wednesday. Hello, everybody. Well, today's topic, once again, is built out of real life. I try to stay with real life because, hey, we're not interested in fantasies. The topic is something that everybody does, everybody needs, and we probably don't even think a lot about it. We just do it. Food, the pain and the food. So, pain and appetite, pain and eating. Let's talk about it. How many times have you said to yourself or a friend or a family member, I feel like shit, I can't eat? Too many times to count, right? How many times do we say to a friend or a family member, oh my God, I guess I can just eat that, and you point to your comfort food? I call it comfort food because it's the food that we can eat when we're in the worst shape, when we're in the worst pain. Some pain you can't eat and shouldn't eat any food, but when you can eat your way through it, some types of food are really more accepted than others by people. Let's talk about it. Macaroni and cheese type things, ice cream in a different state of mind type things, some types of salads and sandwiches with dressings, comfort food from the old day comfort food, maybe even chili if your stomach can handle it. My point is, you all have favorite foods. I have favorite foods. 70% of what I eat is sushi. You wouldn't guess it by looking at me, but 70% of what I eat is sushi. Find a food you like. Find a food you like that you can eat even when you're gritting your teeth, because that's what we have to contend with. It's enough. Let's not even talk about what ifs. Well, what if we were normal people? We're not normal people. We have the pole up our butts. We have the burning rods in our backs. Who could eat a meal happily in that situation? Just think about it. Mrs. Stoner comes home from a hard day at work and will say to me, come on, you want to go out for dinner? Doesn't say that anymore because she knows. She knows that that time of day is so volatile for me and people like me that, can you make dinner? You think you can go out? And it's okay if I don't, because it's too much pain, the process of going out. And then we move back to the old standby, which is stay home and bring in. But I still got to make it to the kitchen table. And then once at the kitchen table, I've got to be able to sit erect enough that the food doesn't get all over me. Now, I don't wear a bib. It's not like that. But what happens is, what if you're like this? What if it's, and you know what I'm talking about because it's more often than not, what if we're like this? How well and how much food can you eat at that point? So, can you eat a cookie? Can you eat a muffin? What can you eat? And then you start eating that stuff. I said sushi. I'm not kidding about sushi. There are certain flavors on the rolls that I can eat. I like soup. Sometimes I can't tolerate that. Sometimes the look of any food, from avocado all the way to sushi, disgusts me. Sometimes the look of food disgusts me. I don't even want to say it really, because it sounds like I have an eating disorder when I say that. But it disgusts me because it's the furthest thing from my mind. When the hand of God comes every morning, I call it the hand of God. Use your imagination, the hand of God. What am I interested in eating for breakfast? I'm lucky I can have a bowl of cornflakes. I'm serious. Who would be interested walking around like this in, oh, what's for breakfast? I don't think people could do it. So I think what we have to think about is that we're normal in this case. What do you think about that? We're doing exactly what we should be doing. It's like when you have rabies, God forbid, you don't want water. When you're in chronic intractable pain, you really don't want food. It's got to be dressed up really pretty for you to want to have a dance with that food. It's got to really smell something special for you to want to have it. And I'll tell you, I leave half my meals on my plate now too. That's the other thing. When you order, you're ordering like you are who you are. Well, we're not anymore. Good luck trying to eat a hot turkey sandwich with French fries or mashed potatoes and coleslaw and fries and a soup and a dessert. Good luck trying to eat that. Okay? What's happened is I think people like us become people that instead of engorging ourselves in these big meals, which is long gone, we eat multiple times a day, probably when we're hungry, which is what they say you should do. Now, I'm not a calorie watcher. I was when I was a young boy. My mother was anorexic. She died. I had a very bad role model on food. So I don't really watch like I should. But here's the challenge. Here is the Midas challenge. There's a fine line between eating right and not being able to eat. What do you think of that one? Eating right, if you studied it and found out exactly what you should eat to keep your body honed perfectly, aka Mrs. Stoner, she does that. I have to ring the bell for her. She's incredible. And then there's me. I eat what I feel like I need to eat. Does that make any sense? Not comfort food, survival food. Doesn't bring me comfort. It allows me to eat. Sometimes, and this kills my stomach, sometimes I have an urge for a hamburger. It's the oddest thing. Maybe the iron. But what pain has done, I was a five-star restaurant, Michelin star restaurant kind of guy all over the world with an expense account. Very rich, good foods. I wouldn't want one of those right now if somebody gave it to me for free. Gave it to me for free. I wouldn't want one of those. I'll say it again. Because to me, the amount of time I'd have to spend in a restaurant for a 3.5 hour orchestrated dinner would really hurt me. So we have to think with food. We're contending with something else that people don't think about it. It's kind of like that breathing and autonomic things. You don't think about them. Sitting at a restaurant at a table longer than 15 or 20 minutes or a half an hour, what starts to happen to us? Think about it. Well, not good stuff. So we're not in a position anymore that we can do formal, really long dinners. Can't do it. Because what happens, and do the triage, it's one of those things I must do, I have to do, I ought to do, I want to do, I think I should do, maybe I think I should. You have this triage. Going and sitting at long, elaborate dinners is way down on the list. Way down on the list. So what we want to do is we want to model our dining habits around our health. That's right, because our health is not going anywhere. We got to deal with it. It's here to stay. We have to model ourselves after that. I sit with a cushion with a coccyx hole in it called the tush cush at dinner. I bring it with me to restaurants. I walk with my cane. I try to get in as comfortably as possible, knowing it's not going to be comfortable to be in a restaurant. When I'm in a restaurant, I try to find the foods that, frankly, I'm going to be able to eat quickly. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to linger like I used to years ago. But these are the things that you have to kind of adjust as part of the whole process of recognition of what's wrong with your body and the things you have to remember you used to be able to do but you cannot do any longer. And facing that is a wonderful thing. Once you can embrace that and have a discussion with yourself and face that fact that you're different today than you were those days, it's going to be a lot easier to live. Whoever thought we'd have to think about food, though? You do. Food has its rituals. Think about it. The process of eating, going out. Food has its rituals. Some cherry pie, excellence diamonds to start the day with a bang. Here we go. Cheers. Very tasty. This whole concept is different than any dab pen or anything I've ever used. So please remember, pain and food are difficult bedfellows, but you've got to have food. So we've got to figure ways to be able to eat comfortably. Good luck with it, everybody. This is the Real Senior Stoner, wishing everybody less pain out there. Cheers.